To make ice at home is nothing new to anybody, but usually you use those plastic ice cube trays, or if you're really lucky, like silicone molds in different shapes and sizes. But in this episode I will show you how to make clear ice at home. Before we get into the freezing part, there's a couple of things you need to have. The most important thing is the cooler, that should have a removable lid. So why, you may ask? Why don't we just use a plastic container box? Well, this is because we want the water to freeze in one direction. This method of making clear ice is usually called the cooler method. In theory, it pretty much works as the same when a lake freezes. On a freshly frozen lake, you can really see how clear the ice is. This is because when a lake freezes, you have cold air on top, and at the same time the bottom of the lake is warmer. So the lake freezes from the surface and down. During this process, it forces air and minerals downward, and this is why the ice ends up so perfectly clear. So, step 1. Remove the lid from the cooler. Step 2. Get your tools and accessories ready. Step 3. Fill up the cooler to about 80% with tap water. There are a few different schools regarding if you should boil the water, if you should use distilled water, and so on. In this video I use regular Swedish tap water. Step 4. Put the cooler in a freezer. I happen to have a pretty large walk-in freeze room at work, but no need to panic, it will be the same result when you put it in the freezer at home. After 24 hours, remove the cooler from the freezer and leave it for 10 to 15 minutes in room temperature. As you can see, it's still water that hasn't frozen in the bottom of the cooler, and that's exactly as we want it. Turn the cooler upside down over a sink or a bucket of some sort and pour off the excess water. Take the bread knife very gently and remove the thinner parts of the ice. Be careful, ice can be sharp as glass and it's pretty easy to cut yourself. Use the knife to round off the edges of your ice block. I always hold the ice block with a towel, and I do that because it gives me much better stability, and in case I would make a bad cut with a knife, it protects my hand. When you're done with the edges, it's time to divide the block into shapes that you want. In this case, I wanted to have ice cubes and ice spears. I start in the middle of the block and divide it in half. After that, I divide that block in half, until I got the size I want. Oh, that's right, I forgot to add the mallet in the tool list at the start. You can actually just use a bread knife, it's just gonna take you a bit longer to cut it through. Put the cut cubes in the zip bag and put them in the freezer. Time to cut up the spears. It's pretty much the same method as cutting up the cubes. I chose to make a spear and a cube because I have a highbrow glass and a lowbrow glass I want to use. They both fit perfectly. If you want the cube to be a bit taller, depending on the glass you're gonna use, it's just to adjust it when you're doing the cutting. Thank you so much for watching, guys. If you like this video, please click the like button and maybe even place a comment below. And don't forget to subscribe if you don't want to miss out of my upcoming ice videos. See you all soon!